I want to play something Matthew Lloyd had to say on the Sunday Footy Show. I haven't heard this yet. It was about Ben Rutten. Lloyd is a very influential voice from an Essendon point of view. Let's have a listen.
I think Ben Rutten should be under pressure for his job. I think something has to give at Essendon. I think they've taken this probably. Some will say we're doing it pretty well because we're not, trying to look like we're falling apart as a football club. But also you can be too just roll on with the accepting, and that's what I think they've been too accepting with where it's at the moment.
To believe.
I want a proper review. I want a review for everyone to look at what's going wrong at the club and why it's been so mediocre for so long. And there is a man called Alistair Clarkson sitting there looking for a job. And could he be the thing that wakes up this football club from its slumber?
I'm a big Matthew Lloyd fan. I think he thinks about football deeply and he cares a lot. Regardless of whether you love him or don't, that will resonate at Essendon when you get a big superstar of your footy club who's got good, strong opinions and I think knows his footy really well, says he should be under pressure, and Alistair Clarkson sitting there. That's strong.
So if you're a fan of Lloydie and the work that he does, do you agree with that comment?
I think he is under pressure. If Matthew's saying he needs to be under more pressure or not, I think he is under pressure, Ben Rutten.
Well, Essendon have been speculated on heavily in the last 4 to 6 weeks. There's been questions asked. Obviously Xavier Campbell being re-signed and the review being taking place internally. So basically, looking at the football department and how it's operating. I heard their president Brasher was talking about that. But Lloydie, as a guy who's close enough to it, but at the same time, his thoughts and opinions are emotional thoughts and opinions. You can't escape and separate yourself from the blood, sweat and tears that he's put into the football club. Doesn't make him wrong, though. No, it doesn't make him wrong, but he's probably going to have more a more emotional connection and response to what's going on there because he's given so much of his life to the club.
I think that is a reasonable assumption, but just because you're close doesn't mean you can't be dispassionate as well. You'd have to ask him how much of it's emotional, how much of it's not.
History is littered with clubs that have stuck with the right person or the right, and senior coaches get, as I've always said, disproportionate amount of focus. But they've stuck with a guy who the outside world might say, well, things aren't working, we need to change this. Stuck with them, change a few things around the place.
Yes.
Damien Hardwick, we've seen that. Al Clarkson, early days, was rebuilding Hawthorn. It happens, and we've seen it time and time again.
And we've seen the other side of the coin with David Teague, for instance. They make a hard call on him. Michael Voss comes in. The whole fabric and sort of setup of that team's turned around in the space.
Well, and we can say Luke Beveridge and Brendan McCartney as well. But I think the reality is that a lot of what happened with the Dogs in 16 was actually the hard work was done in the years leading into that as well. The other thing I would say briefly, this idea of the Messiah complex is flawed.
Righto.
One bloke doesn't do it.
We'll get to it again. We need a break. Stay with us. Don't forget Simon Lethlean, straight out of the 8 o'clock news.